Click the links to join the channel here or on subscribe. So thanks everyone who's been donating to that new computing live fund that should happen this Black Friday. So you know, I'm surprised this movie is doing as well as it is. Like with Black Adam, I knew that was like nothing about Black Adam was adding up with the hype about it. And I went and saw it. I mean, I went in a schooner or a Corvette or whatever you call those things to see it, if you know what I'm saying. And like I look at this movie and I'm like, this is not going to be a hit. It's weird that there's some kind of vibe. It's a big opening weekend. It's like that just means there was probably nothing else going on because it doesn't make sense that that was going to be a hit. And as it turns out, it's almost certainly not going to be a hit, especially because both movies got banned in China for some reason. So there goes probably $100 million of net profit. So I'm surprised that this is done as well as it has. Um, I still don't think it's going to be a hit, but it looks like it's going to make money. And I'm not exactly sure why, but it's not going to be like $1 billion hit. I mean, maybe because it was coasting on the coattails of the first one. Anyway, so YouTuber and TikToker Courtney Michelle reports that TikTok censored her video that criticized the Wakanda Forever as feminist propaganda. I mean, like that seems like a pretty fair and reasonable assessment. So the Sun community thinks that they're pulling the strings on these machinations, and it's not just them. Like there's a lot of subsections of the woke community in general, and they think like a lot of Antifa and BLM kids are kind of like they're useful idiots. They think they're pulling the strings, and then you discover like, oh, it's we weren't pulling the strings after all. It was kind of like kids with the game controller that's not hooked up, and they think they're playing the games. I mean, the people who are funding you are pulling the strings, and there's people who are funneling the money to them. It's like you just have to ask who benefits and follow the money. Anyway, so they're kind of shields for the puppet masters to help push a narrative. They think they're in charge because they're going in the same direction. It's like they're marching at the head of a parade, but suddenly they keep marching straight, and the parade has turned off, and they find themselves looking around, wondering what the hell happened. They learn pretty quickly when they start getting off course, and they find themselves alone. Thinking for yourself can be dangerous. It's what I say. It's dangerous to be right when the government is wrong, and in this case, it's the government, the financial institutions, the mainstream media, the social media, and we're right. And those are trillions of dollars of assets that are wrong. So yeah, it puts us, all of us who are right, it puts us in a dangerous position. They they're allowed the spotlight as long as they say their lines, but as soon as they go off script, things start changing pretty quick, and they find out who their friends are and who are not their friends, and I mean, who who's willing to put a line in the sand and say this far and no further, and who's with me. It's like it's a very gut check situation because you only find out who's with you when they're with you. So it's interesting to see what happens when woke starts pulling an Ouroboros on itself. The community that thought they were benefiting from this system, and then they realize like they're a little bit of useful idiots, and it's kind of coming for them too. It's like everyone is going to starve equally when the kingdom starves eventually. So the example being the Wakanda 2 is a piece of propaganda designed to destabilize the family, and the message being that women don't need men, they're adversaries, and women should take the lead. Everything Disney is pushing is satanic globalist propaganda designed to destroy society. And this, if you said that 30 years ago, 1992, you'd hear that and you'd think, this person is a little wacky. And then, 15 years later, it's like, I wonder, Disney is kind of taking a weird turn. And then anytime in the past 5 years, you're looking at it like, oh, they were right all along. Can I have a tinfoil hat, please? So, in this case, the Pox community is the one who's getting destroyed. The patriarchy is a good thing. Patriarchal tribal blood connections, that's what builds a strong state. Everything the globalists push is an inversion of the natural order, the sinister left-hand path versus the dexterous right one. But to say it is, of course, politically incorrect and will eventually get you kicked off the platform. It is what it is. Think of the message of the Woman King, and I mean, for me, I'd probably just start another channel. Um, monetization, I would just use someone else's bank account and ID, because not everyone cares about Google. So think of the message of the Woman King and Wakanda 2. Where are the men? Why would Hollywood want to destabilize the family? Why is Hollywood trying to destroy what makes a nation stable? Hollywood's goal is not to make money, it is to destroy nations. Malcolm X talked about not letting the enemy teach your kids. Well, what do you think Hollywood has been doing for the past 70 years? It's a trip when, oh, yeah, what a lovely, again, I'm surprised. Well, I guess because it's got the Disney name attached to it, it's got the original thing attached to it, and then people, like, there's the emotional attachment of Chad Boswick passing at 43. So that probably paid for like $100 million of it. But again, you look at these movies and people thought Black Adams was going to do well, and then like this is probably just barely going to make money. I'm sure it's going to win all kinds of awards. I mean, it was a more nuanced film than the original. Um, so in that regard, it was slightly better, even if the messaging was wrong, if you know what I'm saying. So social media and mainstream media absolutely control the narrative. If you can't discuss ideas on social media, then you can't move forward those ideas. So social media controls the direction of the nation simply by only allowing certain ideas to flourish and others get censored. And eventually people learn what our masters don't like, and we learn to self-censor. You get trapped in a golden cage, or at least a copper cage, a cage of survival. I mean, you realize, oh, everything's kind of tied into social media and the digital financial institutions where you can get doxxed, get debanked, get fired, have your life destroyed. It's like, oh, looks around, we're in a cage. We've been in a cage for 15 years, at least digitally speaking, and obviously since 1913, economically speaking. But people are starting to look around. They go, oh, so you can have your life destroyed if you you have a bad moment at a park with a dog and a bird watcher, in quotes. The history behind that guy, the interviews with that guy afterwards, he's a bad actor. He's a bad character. It's like, was she a tool? Yeah, but like, so her and her husband got their lives destroyed. I'm glad. I'm glad they did sort of, because it sends a very clear message to liberals everywhere. Hey, so San Francisco liberals, your Tesla gets broken into every 2 months. Every 2 months they pop out that back window, and you pay $400 to get the thing replaced. How you enjoying San Francisco, liberals? Yeah, my garage gets drilled out every few months. They drill it out. They put like a coat hanger in there, and they pop the lock, so they gain access to the garage, and then they just break down the door. Home invasion. How's that working out for you, San Francisco? Oh, it's not that cool. So I could go on and on, but I wouldn't be allowed to go on YouTube. Anyway, so nobody thinks it's weird that we don't have free speech on the internet. Shouldn't our representatives be fighting for free speech online? Why would our politicians not want us to have free speech? Right or left, our representatives don't represent us. And it's not like the Republicans or DeSantis or Trump, they want free. No, they both passed laws prohibiting free speech in various circumstances. Neither the right or the left want free speech. It's like a third group of people that want free speech. And we find ourselves with unusual allies. We're all on this free speech platform. We realize, we really believe in that open marketplace concept. Anyway, so this lady didn't like the messaging. Oh no, we have one that can see in Wakanda too. But when she goes to the digital town square to discuss it, she discovers that they censor wrongthink. So here is where detrimental reliance comes in. For years, people relied on social media to discuss political and other issues. They grow a user base, and after you build a following, which is a hell of a time and financial investment, the platform starts to censor you to push only left-wing ideas, and there is no alternative platform. People just assume that they would have free political speech online. The site would be unbiased and impartial. More fool us. They get trapped by detrimental reliance. We don't control the fate of the nation. Disney, Google, Apple, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, those are the banks that are famous for going after wrong thinkers, both here and in the UK. We're simply debt slave cattle until we aren't. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, support channel, and subscribe, sir, if you can. I'll see you guys on the next episode.